followed out.
Stepney's visit to the Fat Controller's Railway was coming to an end. "We shall miss you," said the Fat Controller. Then he turned his attention to all the other engines. "My railway is very busy and I am pleased with you, but you need help. A diesel is all that's available. Please do your best to avoid any disturbances." "What does that mean?" whispered Duck. "That means this diesel is difficult," snapped James. And he was. The diesel surveyed the shed. "Not bad, I've seen worse. At least you're all clean," he sneered. The engines glared. "It's not your fault, but your controller should scrap you and get engines like me. A fill of oil, a touch on the starter, and I'm off. No bother, no waiting. They have to fuss around you for hours before you're ready." The engines were furious. Next morning they held an indignation meeting round the turntable. "Disgraceful," mumbled Gordon. "Disgusting," said James. "Despicable," spluttered Henry. "To say such things to us," cried Donald and Douglas. "It's to teach him a lesson we'd be wanting. Now how do we do it?" The chance came sooner than expected. The diesel was purring comfortably. An inspector watched the fitter making final adjustments. The wind tugged at the inspector's hat. The diesel was ready. "Look at me, Duck and Stepney. Now I'll show you something." He rolled proudly towards his coaches. Then it happened. Shaking and spluttering, the diesel stopped. Meanwhile, the inspector was looking for his hat. The diesel seethed with fury as Duck and Stepney pushed him back to the shed. "My hat!" exclaimed the inspector. "You've sucked it through your air intake." "Bother your hat," said the Fat Controller. "The heavy train's due out. You'll have to take it, Duck. Stepney, will you help, please?" "Thank you, sir," cried Stepney. "I'd like a good long run on my last day." The engines were soon ready. "Gordon will take over from halfway, so get the train there. Good luck." "Don't worry," smiled Stepney. "We'll get there and be early, too." The cavalcade moved carefully over the rails and out to the open line. "Now for a sprint," puffed Stepney. "I'm ready when you are," replied Duck. Soon they were whizzing through Edward Station. And next, they charged at Gordon's Hill beyond. They felt the drag of the heavy coaches here. It was hard work. At last, they were running smoothly along the line towards the big station. "Hello," said Gordon. "You're early. That's one in the headlamp for old Diesel." "James says he's sick as boiler sludge and sulking in the shed." "Serves him right for saying we're out of date." Gordon chortled away. Next day, everyone came to say goodbye to Stepney. "Come back and see us soon," whistled the engines. "And you are always welcome on my Bluebell Railway too," replied Stepney. Then he puffed away. And what about Diesel? He'd slipped out whilst no one was looking. He said goodbye to no one but left two things behind: a rather nasty smell and a battered bowler hat.
Bye-bye. Train stops play.
Stepney the Bluebell engine was busy talking to the other engines. It was his first visit to their railway and he was having a splendid time. You are very lucky engines, he said. Your line has got everything. It's long enough to give you a good run and you have plenty of passengers. Then you have a quarry and a mine, so you need plenty of trucks. Trucks are fun. I miss them on our line. Percy was surprised. All the engines thought trucks were trouble. You're welcome to take some of mine, he said, but you'd better ask driver first. The drivers agreed and the two engines set off. Thomas and Toby were speechless. Stepney took the trucks to the harbour. Then he picked up a load of empty ones and started back. Ahead was a cricket field. The game had just begun. Stepney and his driver had to wait at a signal. Good, said his driver. We can watch the game. Then there was trouble. The batsman hit the ball. It flew high into the sky towards Stepney's train. Clunk went the signal. Thump went the ball into a truck. But neither driver nor fireman heard it. Stop! Yelled the players. But Stepney didn't hear them. Come along, he thought to the truck. Oh, one and only ball, cried the players. Wake up, Caroline, they said to their old car. The chase is on. Caroline coughed crossly and rolled down the road. Stepney wasn't hurrying. Caroline soon came up behind him. Toot, toot, she wailed. The players shouted, but Stepney was still too far away for his driver and fireman to see or hear from. They completely misunderstood. If those jokers want a race, said the driver, they can have one. Faster, Stepney, faster. Poor Caroline wasn't happy at all. She rattled along at twice her usual speed. I shouldn't be treated like this, she grumbled. This pace is too hot for my system. It'll fuse all my circuits. Suddenly, Stepney was nowhere to be seen. Hurrah! Cried Caroline. That silly train has run into a hole so we can't catch it. I can go home now. But she couldn't. Her driver pounded Caroline onto the steep hill and then down the other side towards the station. Stepney was already there when Caroline clottered in. We need our ball back, cried the players, and explained everything. The ball was nestled under some straw in the third truck from the van. We found it, cried a player. We're sorry, sighed the driver. Oh, you couldn't help it, replied the player. Now we must get back quickly. You'll be lucky, said the driver. Caroline looks worn out. And she was. The driver spoke to the station master and the signalman, and they all agreed a plan. Soon, they had rolled Caroline onto a flat truck with a brake van coupled behind. The players crowded inside, and Stepney pulled the train back to the playing field. Everyone enjoyed watching the game. Even Caroline was pleased. She doesn't think trains silly now. They have their uses, she says. They can save the wear on a poor car's wheels.